City Jazz Sessions is about great music, arts, and entertainment. We are located in St. Louis, Missouri, to performance art lovers worldwide. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. You can email us at cityjazzsessions@gmail.com.
All
All
right.
right, all right.
Yeah.
Here we
Hey,
are.
everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
St. Louis and the world.
St.
You
Louis.
guys know uh, my beautiful co-host, Laka Soul,
Hey.
All
and
right.
I'm Ronnie Burrage, and we have a wonderful power couple. I call them a power couple because they doing things, real things that are impacting people in with their health and their well-being and their empowerment as to who they are.
Mm, all of
You
that.
know, their humanity, all of those things. So I am very proud and honored to present Niambi Jaha-Echols and Mr. Rod Echols. Rod and I go back to, believe it or not, first grade. He say before, but
Yeah, it was before.
yeah. So we go way back.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful to see our people, man, doing so many wonderful, powerful things, you know? Um,
Yes.
So as we get started, how about Niambi, you tell us just a little bit about yourself, a little short bio, and then Rod, you tell us, and then Laka has, I know, prepared a couple of questions from researching you guys, and we get started.
All right. Well,
All right.
I'll get it moving. I am married to Rod Echols. We've been together for
20
almost
some
20 years now. Yeah. We have an 18-year-old son. And what I do is, well, we work together a lot, but I am in the realm of what many would say diversity, equity, and inclusion. I do, my company is Cross-Cultural Agility. And I don't use the term diversity, equity, and inclusion because I think that what needs to happen is a much deeper and more soulful and heart-centered approach. So I take a different angle to this whole thing because I think part of what's being left out of this conversation is spirituality.
Mhm.
So I'm the author of a book that I wrote back in 2019 called What Color is Your Soul? Healing the Illusion of Our Separateness. From that, I've also just launched, but a soft launch, because we'll have the full launch of an online school called Earth Purpose Institute. And so my, Rod and I work together. I do more heart and soul work, and he does more heart, soul, and sound work. So we do workshops and retreats together, but helping people to really unpack around racism and everything that all of the epigenetic wounds that we carry that are ancestral that show up and keep us from getting to the goal of really human connectedness. So that's me in a big mouthful.
Yeah, but you know what? Before you go on, Rod, Niambi,
Yeah.
first of all, folks, they have a wonderful, they have land that they do these incredible retreats on in North Carolina. So you not only get healed from within and spiritually and through the ether, you get it through nature, being out in this wonderful space that
Yeah.
they have out there. So I need to mention that. Also, Niambi, you wrote another book prior to that, didn't you, about the butterflies or something? Because
I wrote actually 2 books prior to that, which was
right,
a
right. I
different
remember
career
those were
trajectory. So the first one was Project Butterfly, which
right.
kind of spawned a whole underground movement working with African American or girls of African descent. And it evolved into an after school program as well as a summer camp, which we did for almost 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it got us some national coverage. We had women from all across the world. And I think in that time we served probably about almost 1,500 to 2,000 girls. And then after that, I wrote a book called Inspiring the Souls of Our Girls. And that was for women who work with girls, because a lot of, the whole it was camp, but it was more of a personal development camp. So a lot of the healing that we needed to do, a lot of people termed it more as a rites of passage, because it had a lot of those elements of taking our girls away and women, supporting the girls. So we would create these butterfly girls. What the reason that the second book came about was we were creating these butterfly girls, empowered, and we were sitting them back into caterpillar environments where their mothers and the community couldn't support them. So then I wrote the second book, which was Inspiring the Souls of Our Girls, which is to help women who are trying to work with our girls, because a lot of women don't have the tools.
Yeah.
Right. And haven't healed. You can't heal. You can't, like, for instance, you can't support a girl looking for daddy love if you still looking for daddy love. So, that's the piece that a lot of our women have not been able to go through those things because they haven't been available. So we created that kind of forum for them as well.
See, absolutely. That's the stuff, empowering. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
All right. Mr.
So now I've
Brother.
moved on to kind of helping heal the world now.
Yeah. So I'm Rod Echols, and I'm the husband of Niambi. And my entity is called Sound to Health. Although I've got some aspirations for some other things to do with healing. As a matter of fact, Ronnie, when he visited, you got to see the first monochord that I built, and I plan to build more monochords and hopefully sell them.
Now, hold on. Explain to the audience what the monochord is, and if you got any pictures, really quickly, you can throw me. I'll throw it to the tech folks.
Okay.
As you're explaining.
Yeah, the monochord is historically it was literally mono chord. It was just one string. And now with the modern healing monochords, that there's anywhere from 15 to 50 strings, but they're all usually tuned the same. And so it really produces some very powerful harmonics and natural harmonics. And so that's a good lead in to what I'm out here in California doing. I'm a sound therapist, certified, studied institution out here in California, Globe Institute of Sound, and have been practicing now for officially for 4 years. Started getting into sound as a concept. Actually, what really started me was I saw the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? And when I worked with the art ensemble way back in the day, for those that may not be familiar with the art ensemble, they use a lot of space or just silence in their performances, and they use a lot of small instruments, make little weird sounds and stuff. And I worked with them as a roadie for quite a few years on and off. And so I saw many concerts, and I saw how people reacted to the sounds, not just the music. And so I was real curious about sound, period. And then I saw that movie, and they talked about Dr. Emoto and how sound can make water cells change their form and stuff. And it was over then. And and so by 2012, 2013, I know you might not remember, Ronnie, but we were trying to get our retreat plan business, our retreat center business
I definitely
together.
remember. I still have the old business model. And portion of the stuff that we sent you.
Okay, all right, yeah. And so
absolutely,
I had no idea that there was something known as a soul note, but that's what Spirit said. I wanted to be able to help people find their soul note, and then the important intervals in their life. In other words, intervals in music or sound that stimulate or relax or center people. So basically, I've taken a deep dive into the effects of sound and vibration on our lives. And so now I'm skipping ahead to now, and just to make an example of how things really do come full circle. Camp Butterfly attracted a young lady from California who had three girls, and two of them actually ended up going through Camp Butterfly, and their mom staffed, and so we started to form a relationship. Niambi became a mentor to this person, and so anyway, her name is Brandy Mack, and I'm here at her home in California, um, and I was able to initiate what I'm doing, which is vibrational literacy in organizations. And
Mm-hmm.
so we talk about organizational culture, and culture is just too hard to explain. It's just too complicated. And so I'm breaking the interrelationships in an organization, as well as the organization's rhythm and their tone, um, and how that translates into things that happen in the office, and how vibration affects organizations and people as they entangle and engage. And so,
Absolutely. That seems pretty important because that tone that could be disruptive for many that they don't even understand that that's there.
right,
You know, they come into the
exactly,
office and they feeling some weird vibe because it's all
exactly,
in that space.
yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's hella
And so,
work there.
yeah, so fortunately, uh, sh- the firm that she works for is doing some powerful work in restorative justice, and they're actually building out spaces. The company, I should have sent you their link as well. It's Design Justice plus Designing Spaces,
Hmm.
and just an example of the work they're doing is taking old jailhouses and turning them into restorative justice spaces
Mm.
where people can actually come and heal as opposed to going to jail and suffering. And so they've already done some projects. This is cutting edge stuff. And they were they're kind of in startup mode. So they were very receptive to making all of the people that are currently there as part of the core aware of vibrational literacy, because
Hmm.
right now, it's new, and so that there is no known rhythm, there is no known tone, and so people come in and it's there's nothing set, and so
Right.
it's awesome. I'm actually able to help them to lay the groundwork for the tone of this organization
Hmm.
moving forward, and setting a foundation for how they can do that when new people come in, and
Right.
also with them being an architectural firm, sound and sacred geometry go hand in hand,
Hand in
and
hand.
so
Absolutely.
yeah, so I was able to make them aware of some concepts dealing with and not to get too technical, but like how there's an octave in music. I would really like to be a pioneer in changing the way organizations look at their people, and I guess this is a long interview, so I can talk more, but because I got some stuff about rhythm that's just some good stuff, and I'm sure you being a rhythm master, we could probably talk about that, and with Laka being a sound master, a voice master, I'm sure we got lots to talk about.
That's true. We, we
Yeah.
we could touch on it tonight, but we ain't going all night now. You know how
Okay. All right.
Mondays and Wednesdays are my full teaching day, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
understand.
we also got part two because all of our
There we
guests,
go.
they're so interesting. We're definitely bringing them back. You
All
know.
right. All right.
But I want to just put Laka before you ask your questions. I disappeared. Am I still here? Can y'all hear me?
Uh, I can hear you. Your
But you can't
video
see me.
froze
Okay.
up.
I think my
Yeah. Just
video froze. But if
yeah.
you can hear me, that's the good thing.
Yes.
I just want to bring some things in perspective about Rod and how he's gotten to some of these places. Okay, he mentioned working with the art ensemble. You know, the art ensemble of Chicago, for our listeners who really know the music, and I know we have tons out there, they know who the art ensemble of Chicago is. But I need to put that in perspective that Rod was firsthand working with them. You know, we grew up under Lester Bowie and his family. His son is one of our closest friends, and I worked with Fontella Bass, his wife, for for years since I was a young teenager. So we're all in that mix. So Rod was growing up understanding those sounds before he knew he was understanding them. Plus, he's a bass player
Yes.
by nature. So, he got that connection. And the thing about music, you were saying something very interesting, how, architecture and the sound vibration and all of those things go hand in hand. When you're talking about, when you put this perspective also from where you're coming from, just to understand that knowledge, you've seen jazz players. We connect on a vibe that creates a song, a tone, and a color instantaneously. That's how we're able to make music propel and create something out of nothing. So you have all of that inside of you. So I know, what you're doing is a success, and it's definitely well needed.
Well, thank you, man.
So yeah. So Lake, I know you got some questions too. I just needed to put that in perspective.
I appreciate
Leon, where's my video at?
It looks like we're on to me now.
Yes.
I'm gonna bring it back to Niambi. So how you started with focusing on girls and women. What led you? What inspired you to start with women in your work and in your books and the camps and things like that?
It's interesting because I don't have I birthed one child and it's a boy, and but I also realized that he will probably be in relationship with the girl, and so if so I had an invested interest in helping to heal the women and girls because they were my future daughter-in-laws and all of that. So I wanted to make that contribution. And the other side of that, in the more practical aspect, at the time, I was also living as a visual artist. And so I had just left grad school, working on my master's in art therapy. And then in the middle of it, I decided I really didn't want to be a clinician. I wanted to be a community activist. And so I opened up an art gallery and creativity center. And I was working with women, and I was doing these workshops, kind of my version of art therapy, psychology, just empowerment. And this one school, these elementary school teachers, I did a session for them, and they actually asked me, well, have you ever worked with girls? And I had never even thought of working with girls. And so, when you open up the possibilities of anything, then, this, like, when you say yes to one thing, then Spirit just gives you everything that's related. And so after I said yes for that gig, they wanted me to basically create an after school program for their girls. They weren't bad girls, but they were sixth graders that were kind of, getting into some things, and these teachers didn't know what to do. And so, when I accepted that, I started looking for curriculum and I couldn't find anything. So that made me mad. And so I wrote, that's what kind of prompted Project Butterfly. Because after I accepted that gig, 2 weeks later, another friend who had just gotten a directorship at this drug treatment facility for adolescent girls. So these are girls ages 11 to 17 who had drug addiction problems. And so they needed something other than just the 12-step program. And so they asked if I would do something for them. And so I had accepted this other gig. So I figured, I could do that as well. And then literally 2 weeks later, I got another call from a friend of mine who worked for the Department of Children and Family Services. And basically, since I had a facility, a space, because I had a kind of an art gallery and creativity center, asked me if I would do something for create an after school program for girls who were wards of the state. And so I accepted all three of these gigs, didn't know what I was going to do, thought I could just research and find curriculum, and it wasn't any. So I got mad and I wrote it myself. And so that's how Project Butterfly was birthed, through that. And then it inspired, when women it went underground, and women got hold of it and said, how do I get my girls involved? And so then I started working. That's what gave birth to Camp Butterfly. And so we created this camp for girls. And so did it for almost 15 years. In fact, in 2024, we'll have our 20th year anniversary. And many of these girls that I've served are now mothers themselves. They've become
Oh, wow.
professionals, doctors, and I'm so proud of them. And many of them, that's why I stay on social media, because that's how I find them and they find me. So,
That's
but
so beautiful. And
yeah,
I'm sure the
that's how
work that
that whole thing started.
and I'm sure the work that you did with them and the things that you instill with them help them with their own daughters. So it's just beautiful how
Mhm.
that gift keeps on, giving, sort of, so to speak.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because you never know how you inspire or can change someone's life. And it's just been really humbling and just amazing when I get women now
Hmm.
who contact me and just say, some of them I try to remember everybody's face, but they've changed so much.
Right.
But I
Right.
remember the names and how much that experience helped them and, and helping them to be the women that they are. So
And
I'm pretty proud of that.
it's beautiful. And you had some of, I mean, just from what you listed, some what we would call like worst case scenarios, right? For women that or young girls that were having issues with substance abuse, like you said, wards of the state, and you know, so dealing with the population that vulnerable. How did you keep your own self together? Because that's hard. That's tough. Seeing that. Like I said, these are what you would think of as worst case scenarios.
Hmm.
It's a tough population.
Well, and I think part of that was I had done my own healing, work, and it um, I did it at a time when I had been going through my own transformations, and so that's why I used the analogy of the butterfly because um, a caterpillar and the metamorphosis of the butterfly, because a caterpillar when it is a caterpillar, it is a complete caterpillar. You don't look at a caterpillar and say, "Oh, that's a beautiful gonna be a butterfly." It's
Right.
all the way caterpillar. And
Yep.
Right.
so then the transformation is once that caterpillar, and I've studied caterpillars, butterflies, and all of that, and the analogy with it. But the thing with caterpillars is that every caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly. And also there is a breed of caterpillar that follows other caterpillars. So one caterpillar will follow another caterpillar. So they go into this circle and they keep following each other until they die. And
Wow.
so with that
Wow.
analogy is that with the caterpillar, in order to transform into the butterfly, it's not an automatic thing. The thing that has to happen is that caterpillar has to pretty much spin its own coffin, its own cocoon, its own chrysalis. And that's the work that it has to do. But everything that caterpillar needs to become a butterfly is already in it. It's not like there's some magical fairy that once it gets in the chrysalis comes around and, with a magic wand. So everything that's in it is repurposed, recalibrated, so to
Mhm.
speak. And the only job of the caterpillar, once it gets in the chrysalis, is to surrender. Surrender
Wow.
to the point of liquefaction. That's how
Mm.
deep the surrender has to be.
Right.
You have to
Wow.
Right.
surrender
Yeah.
to the point of liquefaction. So we
Wow.
use that model to help girls to understand that where you started is not where you will end, but you got to do your work. You got to do your work. If you
Yeah.
don't do your work, you've seen probably the analogy of when a caterpillar is when a butterfly, once the metamorphosis is done, when it's trying to get out of the chrysalis, if you try to help it, you basically crippled it
Right.
because that struggle is necessary. So a lot of times we try to prevent our girls from going through stuff or even ourselves from going through it, but that's building that muscle. And so what that caterpillar needs and what girls need and what we all need is just a safe place to do our work. We need people to hold space for us. And so that's why Rod and our mission has been to create spaces, literal, tangible spaces for people to come and do their work.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's yeah.
I love that analogy. Oh my gosh. And I did not know all of that about the caterpillar. So thank you.
You're
You know that
welcome.
that puts me in mind of the movie called Altered States, where they
Yeah,
created
yeah,
a think tank at Columbia University, and they took you all the way back past embryo stage.
right.
And you're talking about, people have to go all the way back to another form to understand what's going on. And that's
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you got to go to the
Absolutely.
root. That's what I tell my students all the time. If you even look at it in like the history of our country, you got to go back to the beginning. You got to learn the truth,
right.
Absolutely.
before you can
And that's
find
the
out
work
who you are.
that's the work that Rod and I are doing right now is
Right.
that root work,
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
him work. Yeah,
That's the only
absolutely.
way we can heal and find out who we are,
right.
through the
Yeah,
truth.
yep,
Awesome.
yeah.
All right, now to you, Rod.
All
So
right.
sound therapist. Now, how did you even find that career? Because that is not a career that you hear about, very often.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I started telling some of the story, um, uh, and I don't want to repeat it all again, but basically, I didn't know sound therapy was a thing. I was looking at music therapy, and then I saw how in order to actually call yourself a music therapist, you basically had to go back to school and do a 4-year degree, and then get a certificate on top of that. And so there, and I'm still young. Who knows? I could do that. I might do that one day, but for right now,
You
I
absolutely can, brother.
exactly, but so I searched far and wide, and I really couldn't find nothing for like 3 years. And I'm not exaggerating. I was using the same search terms, but that's how spirit works. And so when I was ready, I found Globe Sound, Institute of Sound, and because I wanted to help people find their soul notes, and the fact that they had a certificate and an associate's degree, they're an accredited college in California, and he had this method of finding a soul note. So I was like, I'm in,
Mhm.
Right.
and so that was a piece of cake.
So,
Yep.
what is the most, I don't know if how I want to say it, but healing or transformation or effect that you've seen in your work? Like, just give us an example.
Uh, well, obviously, I have to hold confidentiality, but Niambi can attest. One of my clients, right before I left, she went really, really deep, and fortunately, I I've I became a facilitator. I started facilitating personal work when I got away from cocaine. Uh, in the mid 90s. And as part of my rehabilitation, I got turned on to personal development work and facilitating and so on. So I've seen some people just literally, I've worked a lot with groups of men and women as well could literally go to a place where it takes two or three people to actually calm them down and be able to hold them and stuff like that. So I wasn't afraid when she went there. And so, yeah, people can go very deep. It's all an individual thing. A lot of sound healing is just like anything else. It's about routine and repetitiveness. And
But
so,
if I could interject
yeah.
something, that the other piece that you do is you've helped people with some medical
Oh yes.
ailments as well,
Yeah.
with chronic pain and, some of your clients that come back for that
Yeah.
kind of healing as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I look at both. I do. I mean, the stuff that I'm good at and that I have complete confidence is, like joints, uh, low back pain, muscle pain, a lot of indigestion issues. I've had great success with helping promote healing in those areas for people. Migraines. Literally just yesterday, I was about to do a sound bath, and one of the participants came up to me and said, "I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to go because I'm having a migraine." And I was like, I looked at her and I said, "I am a sound therapist, right?" so, so I
Right.
took her into to the room and treated her, and she enjoyed the sound bath. So, um, yeah. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, but
Oh, it does. And
Absolutely.
do you mostly use like, I don't know what all techniques you use, but do you mostly use the sound baths? Is that
well, a sound bath is really that's for shifting energy and also for just showering someone with general frequency. And Ronnie, this will get into actually both of you all's realms. Live entertainment is when we were growing, when Ronnie and I and Niambi, we were all, like in the 60s, live entertainment was everywhere. So people were still getting hit with natural harmonics because the live instruments. And now people might not hear a trombone live or saxophone live for months, maybe even
Years even.
years. I mean, they listen to music. Yeah, exactly. And so we aren't we one of my theories is and one reason why I'm doing this work is we have lost touch with the natural harmonics because our tuning system doesn't unless you're just hitting one sustained note. If you play a chord, our tuning system has been digitized.
Mhm,
It's equal temperament tuning, and
mhm.
so the way harmonics work in nature, our tuning system doesn't jive with that. And so there's nothing wrong with our music per se, but we have to be retuned harmonically so that we
Uh,
can actually be in the same vibe with nature. And that's part of what has allowed us to just literally not even pay attention to nature.
Right. I need to interject something because there
Yeah.
is a lot wrong with our music nowadays. it's a
Okay.
lot of
Okay.
it's a lot of our, like you said, that just to be able to hear all of these other sounds naturally from instruments without
Right.
electronic or digital interference is
Right.
another type of thing that we've lost, especially in
Yes.
the community, right? The community
Yes.
has been pumped with certain type of music that always has the same wavelength to penetrate us
Mhm.
in a certain way to make us
Yep.
want to do the same thing. The content
Yes.
is kind of close to the same. And so now there's a lot wrong with our music, and that's why a lot of our creative music we don't there's not an outlet for it anymore, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
we need
Mhm.
to keep that real. There's a lot wrong with the music, and there's a lot wrong with our communities because our communities pump one type of music. um
Right.
you understand? We don't have, like here in my neighborhood, we don't have a Flatbush radio station that plays the music of the people. That
Right.
most of our commercial stations are playing one type of music, and it has a frequency that is
Yes.
disruptive to our natural flow.
And a
So
rhythm.
Absolutely. That's
and
why
and
we're incongruent, and this because it's not congruent with where we want to be. And
exactly.
Right.
one of the things that I hope Rod will talk about is one of the gifts is getting your soul note, and
Yes.
that is just a powerful piece when you can actually recalibrate yourself back to your own natural harmonic
Harmonics.
of
Hmm,
Yeah.
hmm.
who you are.
Yeah,
now?
I
Do
want to
you
say something else really quickly, Laka. Rod, you said something that was very important. You said you were searching and searching for something, and it took you over 3 years to find it. And then when you were ready,
Mhm.
the universe
Yep.
presented it to you.
That's
So for
right.
our young people listening out here, never give up on your dreams or your
Yes.
aspirations or where you want to go with whatever it is you're trying to do. Because if you are passionate about it,
Mhm.
what that happens in that time is you're learning more and more your skill set, you're honing your craft. When it's you are ready, the universe would
Right.
present itself to you. And then you just make sure that you take hold of those opportunities and you walk through those doors.
That's right. Yeah,
You
I
know.
call that the path of least resistance. Some
Mm.
people talk about synchronicity,
Hmm.
and if to me, it's more path of least resistance. So let's just say, for instance, like you said, I'm going to be a jazz drummer. And so along your path, because you were so passionate about that goal, you started attracting things and opportunities and possibilities. And
Yeah, beating up a whole bunch of pots and pans too.
right, but I'm sure there's probably a few stories that you could point to where you had the thought, maybe, who knows, it could have been a year prior, and and that thought was in you, and you might have even felt like that you weren't actually in action on that thing, but yet you had put it out there, and all of a sudden a year later stuff starts to just fall in place, and that's path of least resistance. So that reaffirms that you are on the right path for your goal when synchronicity starts to appear.
Yeah, and you guys have to make that vision board. Even if you don't have to physically write it, even just like Rod said, you put it out in the ether, and the things your work will put you toward. I've had dreams when I was younger, where I was on the stage and I'm looking out and I couldn't even see anybody. But I knew it was tons of people there. But I'm looking at like Wayne Shorter or something, and years later, I was
playing with Wayne Shorter.
So I remember as a kid having those dreams about different people, and it's like, so those things, it's like, and in your head you're like, yeah, I'm gonna make this happen some kind of way. And when you're ready, I didn't play with Wayne until later in my career, but all of those things start happening.
Yes. It's the law of attraction and vibration go hand in hand, because you can't attract unless you have the right vibe.
Right. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
And this is a question for both of you. Your work, do you do any of it online, so that people who aren't in North Carolina?
The soul note process is done through Zoom.
Okay.
I can do it in person or via Zoom.
I'm signing up.
Okay, thank you.
It's a wonderful tool to have, when for me, like, if I have, because it's a tuning, you have your own tuning fork and your own vibration that comes from you. It's like Rod doesn't give it to you. He helps you to find it. And so once you can connect to that, because I was hearing a tone, when we were in a session with some other people, and nothing that he was given, it didn't. So I said, well, what is this tone that I'm hearing inside of me? And so I would say it, I would hum it. And then he was able to recognize it, because that was what was vibrating in me. And so now when I feel off, or if there's something on my body that's off, like a back, or my, get a little arthritis or something in my hand, I'll put my tuning fork there to help those cells to get back calibrated to my soul note. Or when I'm feeling not like myself, I will, do my tone so that I can get back in alignment. So I would highly recommend it for anybody, and especially in these times when everything outside of us is so dissonant and disconnected.
So y'all need to get with Rod and find your note, because it's definitely better than eating a Snickers bar when you ain't so.
Like that commercial. Right, exactly.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
So Niambi, Laka was asking about the online things, and you're in your studio. When we were there, your sister got the state-of-the-art mics and movie projectors and green screens. She's giving lectures online. Let's tell us about it.
Well, this pandemic, actually, a lot of the work that I was doing with clients, it's really how, you start off doing one thing and then you keep moving and you keep evolving. And so I started off doing this work and created a camp. And then that camp got on the radar of the American Camp Association. And so then they, at the time, they were trying to figure out how. I had a waiting list of African-American girls, and they were trying to figure out how, we can't get girls to come to these camps. And so fast forward, I served 6 years on their board, on their national board.
Mhm.
And through that, I started seeing the disconnect of white camps and what they were, having more white people in my realm who were trying to understand this cross-cultural divide. And so I started doing a lot of research and just started doing work, adding my personal development spin on staff trainings and those kinds of things. And so it kind of led me on the path that I'm doing now, which is more healing in general, helping us with this whole racial disconnect. And so when the pandemic hit, because I was seeing clients and that, here in North Carolina, and I would fly to clients in different parts of the country, and the pandemic shifted that. And so I, had to figure out how do we eat? How do we make a living here?
Right.
And so realized that I would be on the computer more than traveling, which I love because I love our space here. So decided to invest in, kind of studio stuff so that I could continue to do a lot of the training and things that I do. So then that led to what we'll be launching in the fall, full blown, which is the Earth Purpose Institute, which is online courses and personal development work for individuals and corporations, and really around what a term that everybody knows, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. But I think what I do is so much more than that, because what's missing in that conversation is our spirituality, and not religion, but our spiritual, our soulful self. And once we can connect that piece in, then we can heal all of those epigenetic wounds and all of that stuff that we carry. So that's what I'm passionate and excited about. And so it's earthpurpose.institute, and in the fall we'll have full-blown classes and courses, mini courses, certifications, and all of that kind of good stuff.
I was trying to
have a tuning fork class on that, and the as one of the courses. Yep.
Yeah.
And I just want to say this before I forget: musicians are biased when it comes to soul notes, but I've worked out a few things to deal with that. But the biasness, though, actually isn't necessarily a bad thing. It basically, what it means is that you have already endeavored on a deep level into sound and note choices. And over time, you've developed some biases for certain note choices. And so
what you're saying is, you could say, "Hey man, your note is this," but I could say, "No, my note is this," because I'm resonating with it more. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the process won't let that happen, because it's all about what resonates with you. And what I was about to say was, even if you have formed the bias, if it actually truly is that hits you in the core, then that you're probably going to choose it anyway. And that's how it's demonstrated. But I have to kind of hide. But some musicians have perfect pitch. So, but it really is about how it resonates in you. So just because you like to compose with that in that key, it could be the same, or it might not be. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, but that actually makes it fun when I do musicians, because it's like I got another challenge in front of me.
Yeah. Well, you know that. Yeah. Working with anything with a musician is a challenge. Don't ask my wife, baby. It's a big challenge.
Yeah.
So, Niambi, I was trying to find those photos. I was looking really quickly. I took some pictures of your studio, and I took some pictures of your instruments, Rod. Do you have the vest with you? Can you show us your vest?
Yeah, I can go get the vest. Yeah, I have to go and come back, though. Be right back.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, Niambi, talk to us about if you added any new tech to your fabulous studio.
No tech. I'm working on I'm actually working on another book right now, which is
there you go.
I stay mentally pregnant. So this one is kind of the second phase of the first book, which was the in this realm that I'm in. What Color Is Your Soul was the first
Right.
book, and
Okay.
now this one will be a book on helping us to heal the epigenetic roots or the wounds of racism. So,
Right.
because a lot of what we are
Right.
dealing with now is it is ancestral stuff, and we're
Mhm.
not even aware of it. You know, we're not
Mhm.
even aware of where that's coming from, and part of that is part of our job to clean that up, is to clean up those, because what I'm finding is, like, right now there's a whole lot of white folks that think they're good white people because they not, you know, maybe not in one band of lynching folks with the KKK, but they don't realize that they still have work to do as well.
Right.
Yeah.
That, yeah, it's those hidden layers of stuff that we
Yeah.
all carry, the wounds of racism, you know.
Absolutely. And we all, again, I can never say, I can't say it enough because we go through it every time I'm on this podcast with people. We have to recognize the truth about our history.
Mhm.
Can't go
Absolutely.
forward unless they do,
Right.
Absolutely. We
Sankofa.
all stewing in the same room,
Yeah.
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 you know.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's the concept of Sankofa. You have to look back to in order to move forward.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not you don't have to get stuck there, but you got to
No,
get
you
the
yeah.
lessons.
You got to get that lesson and move forward.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 Now,
So
before you tell us about that jacket,
yeah.
I got to ask you a question. You put that on anybody and they got sexually aroused? Because I remember when I first felt that first vibration, I was like, whoa, what is that?
But well, see, that's one of the interesting parts of my work is that I never know how a vibration is going to affect somebody.
Whoa, you better watch out, boy.
Yeah, but I do know enough to know that no vibration I've ever applied to anybody has hurt them. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Laka, that vest is amazing. Wait till he tell you what it does.
Yeah, so this vest is uh, it uses what are called transducers, and what makes this vest special is it's got four of them, or yeah, four, and they're in stereo. Usually, subwoofers are mono, so the advantage of this is you can take really low frequencies, and these are the best transducers that I've found, and I've been studying this for like 6 years now, and they go all the way down to like 15 hertz, so you can get like where you can almost count the beat. um, Most people can count the beat to 10 beats per second, but after that only people like Ronnie and Jack DeJohnette and so on can do that. But yeah, so this will go down to really low frequencies, and low frequency vibration or vibroacoustic therapy has been being studied by the NIH and all these universities for decades, and it's good. Has demonstrated effectiveness for arthritis, depression, Parkinson's, PTSD. The name goes on and on. And so this vest, though, was made for musicians and just people listening to their, their phone or whatever, so that you can actually feel the music. And so it's used mostly by producers. And there's another one called, I think, Sub Pack.
can I, Rod? I'm sorry. Can I
Yeah.
interrupt you right there, just to
Yeah.
kind of toot your horn, because you won't say this, but
What's that?
like what got him on this track before Rod got into the whole sound therapy piece, he was in IT. He was a and so in that IT world, he is also a master inventor. So that's a you know he what, in 8 months you have so many different patents that are
in 10 months I contributed to 49 patents.
right.
And then I got laid off.
Wow.
Hey, so there, things that we are, some of the things that we might be even using with our smartphones, that he is part of that. And so when he transitioned to sound therapy, most therapists use their own like massage table kind of thing. And so Rod, because he knew what he needed to do, what he wanted to achieve, created this Vibro acoustic table. So the Woozer is just portable, but he actually created
I
this.
use the sound table.
Yeah, you're on it. You're getting,
I've got little Frankenstein type devices as well that, like, I can put this one here, and one day I'll take this further than the prototype that it is right now. But this thing, I don't travel without it, because I'm getting older now, and if I sit for 5 hours, 6 hours, my hip, it just gets real tight. And with this, I know that I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
So this is like something that I do not leave home without on a long trip. I don't always take the vest, but I use the vest for in-person soul notes sometimes, as opposed to putting people on the sound table. But this is an awesome tool. And some drummers use transducers under their seat, so that they can feel everything better. Some bass players too use the transducer under their seat. But producers use it so that when they're mixing and mastering, they can feel the bass. And this one is better than it, to me. It's better than the competitor, because it's got it's got 6 speakers. That's right, and they're in stereo. And the other one is mono. So yeah, this is one of my best tools. It's lightweight. I mean, I think might just be a pound. It's very light.
But if you don't know what it does is when he puts it on it and it sends a pulse, you can feel that pulse. You can feel that tone, and it resonates in your muscles through your body.
Yes.
It's seriously amazing.
It's a way that I know they're using it for people who are visually impaired or autistic, so that they can feel the music, so they can feel it, or deaf rather, when they can feel it.
So where can we get one of those? Look at me, I just want to buy everything.
Yeah, I mean, they actually have a strap as well that just has one transducer. It's like $129. This one's like $350, and they're online. If you do a search for Woozer, Woojer, and this is the Woozer Edge.
See, that might be a distributor, because he's been promoting their company.
I know, right?
That's true. That's one of them. Along with them patents, you're going to get paid for at some point. You're going to have to get paid for doing that too.
Yes, the universe will take care of me. Yeah,
that's right.
And I know that.
That's right. We know that. Man, I don't know. That might be a little. For me, it might drive me over the edge. Because when I'm playing, I feel everything. I'm like, if I had that joy on to feel more, I don't know.
Right. Yeah, it might be too much.
Yeah, you know how invested I get when I'm playing. It's like, man, I can feel everything. So I don't even think I want that to upset my natural flow with what's going on, especially at this point in the game.
I was going to say, yeah. If maybe you tried it 20 different years ago.
maybe. But it's deep. It's deep with the technology we have. But the beauty thing is how you're using it to help people find their center.
Yes.
That's a lot of our problems, man. Nobody is centered. People are just pulled all over the place, and they don't know how to find their center.
Well, let me say this. What I usually tell people is, when I open up a session, is most people know what their zodiac sign is, right? Even whether they use the information or not. Pretty much everybody knows their zodiac sign.
Wow.
But the piece is, we live in a world where everything spins, everything vibrates, from the large to the tiny. And if everything's got a vibration and what's called a fundamental, then why don't we know our fundamental?
Right.
You know?
Right.
So if I'm going to live in a vibrational world, then I need to have vibrational literacy.
Right.
Just seems simple to
100%.
me.
It's right. It's right. It's that. That's
Yeah.
that. That's that
And
for sure.
and I have a vision too, man, because what I was going to say about the rhythm piece, when I'm doing this piece with the organizations, one of the things I point out, I think I have like I don't know, a 10 and a 7 and a 2 rhythm going all together like a polyrhythm.
Right.
And so I start off with them all kind of on an even volume and playing the same instrument. And it kind of sounds not like noise, but it just ain't nothing there. It ain't nothing to
Right.
grab onto.
Right.
And then all you have to do is put the accent on one of those 3 polyrhythms. And
Right.
all of a sudden, bang.
Yeah.
And so when we're like working in teams and stuff, we often discount people because of their status or their place in the hierarchy. But I show that to show the example that sometimes all it takes is that one person to be allowed to in some cases to be allowed to raise the volume just a little bit, and all of a sudden, wow, stuff's working now.
Right.
And
Right.
so yeah, so it's kind of my way of promoting equity, and especially emphasizing the fact that uh, excuse me, emphasizing the fact that all of our vibrational frequencies contribute to the possibilities and the solutions. And so just because I'm sitting up here and you're sitting down there, I can't discount your contribution to the overall rhythm and tone of what we're doing. Yeah, so basically, people are more important to the overall movement of things than some people would like to allow. And
Right.
I try to put that in a visual and a feeling because you know the rhythm's going and so they can feel it, and then all of a sudden boom, it's like got serious rhythm, whereas before
Right.
it was just kind of noise, you know.
Yeah,
So
that's some serious
adding this one
conceptual,
voice.
yeah, that's some serious conceptual openness that people have to
Right.
understand what that means, because
Exactly.
some of those workplaces, for certain people, the only reason it exists is so they can exert their
Right.
hierarchy and not
Exactly.
understand that they need everybody,
Right.
So
Yeah.
I wish and hope the best that you find those companies that really want to nurture that
Exactly.
and understand
Right.
that,
Right.
And
because
the other piece is that, with our online school, Earth Purpose, one of the things that Rod will be doing too, because there's not, let's just put it out there, there's not a whole lot of brothers or people of color, Black folks, any people of color who actually have the theory beyond just this. There are a lot of people that are doing sound baths and working with bowls and stuff, but they have, just maybe natural inclinations, but they don't really
right,
understand the science behind it and the
Right.
theory behind it. So if
right,
people had that foundation, we would be just really powerful beyond
Yes.
measure. And so
right.
part of what I'm really thankful that Rod is going to be doing, kind of classes, but also ultimately a school to certify other practitioners
Yeah, that's
that
it.
they can be really
Yeah.
rooted in this and understand the theory and the science behind it so that, just
Right.
to
There you
deepen
go.
the work that we're doing.
There you
Yeah.
go. Put out them sound warriors.
That's right.
Yes,
That's right.
yes.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. Sound Warriors.
All right. So if you see it on the logo, Ronnie, don't be all mad.
Oh,
Yes,
no, no,
right.
no. I just got to make sure I get my part of the patent. I say I know you since fourth grade, boy, even before. No, man. Look, man, all power to both of y'all. You're doing some wonderful, wonderful, extraordinary work, and we
Yeah, I
need more of it.
appreciate that.
and we need
Yeah.
more of these conversations, and we need more of the world to understand what's happening. You know, because it's time. We're just in a
Absolutely.
state of needing healing, like,
Yeah.
you know, on so many different levels. And so I applaud you. I'm proud of y'all so much. You know, and before we end this, do you have anything you would like to show? Any links or anything you can shoot to me or to Laka or to Leon, and we can show something really quickly? Or is you want to show some part of your site? We can pull up your site and you can tell us what page to go to, anything like that. Because I
Um,
think, you know, people might relate a little more to the visual too.
right. Well, I don't really have anything particular, but I would definitely say if you visit my site, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll see the write-ups of the different sessions that I offer and the
Okay,
soul
can
note.
we pull that up really quickly, Leon? And also after that, maybe we could pull up Niambi so people can see how they can purchase her books.
So Cam,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the scroll text.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's just www.soundtohealth.com.
Mm.
And let's see.
is this the one? Oh no, this is the art of living. You said sound to health.
Yeah, Sound to Health.
.com.
You know what? When we were younger, I used to say Rod looked like Shaft. But now you look more like a young Nelson Mandela. That's a beautiful picture, man. You look like you could play Nelson Mandela.
All right, all right. That's all right.
All right.
So,
So can you guys see it?
yeah, here, let me get back to where we are. Yeah, so if you scroll all the way down, there's going to be some information about our. Yeah, keep going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all the way at the bottom. There we go. Soul Note session, and click on the
Okay.
info button. And so that describes what a Soul Note session um, is about.
Okay.
And so anybody who's interested, please visit that and also take in, whatever information that we've shared here about the Soul Note.
And you do have, I see you say have contact right there. So if they click that, they can send you their information, correct?
Oh, you can actually schedule an appointment right
Oh, there
there
we
on.
go.
Yeah. And I think it's that second one, that second round button over on the right.
Yeah, where the calendar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, you can just go and schedule this. Okay, good. But that contact, isn't that a form for them so you can be able
Yeah.
to get it? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
All
Beautiful,
right.
beautiful.
Thank you
And then
all.
we'll go over to. Is this the one that you want me to share, Niambi?
Which one is that, hon?
It has Niambi Jaha-Echols.com.
Yeah, you can do that. And that could get you to the book,
All
I
of your
think.
sites.
What color is your
Yeah.
soul?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when you say cultural agility, what does that mean exactly?
Well, it's helping us to be more agile in our thinking, more nimble in
Okay.
the way we, because really it's not, we are not different races. Racism is real, but
Mm-hmm.
we are, we're not congruent. We'll say that, we're part of the human race, but yet we're different races. And
Yeah.
when we really understand, like Ronnie was saying earlier about us really understanding history and who we are, race, black and white is made up. It was a construct that was made up for power, to
Mm-hmm.
contribute to the caste system that we're all in. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we realize that, then we can start dealing with us as different cultures and understanding the all that goes with that. And so we have to be more agile in how we think about it. And so I just take a different spin on this whole diversity, equity, and inclusion piece because I think we ain't ready. We got to do some healing first because
Yeah.
before we can just come and sing Kumbaya with each other.
Right.
Absolutely.
Say hi. Say hi.
Hey, Shonda.
I'll listen right now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, I'm so happy that we were able to pull this off and get our
Yeah.
schedules on the same page and talk. You guys to meet Laka and Leon and Warren and be a part of this, what we're trying to do here. Tell all these wonderful, fantastic, beautiful stories and to let the
Yeah.
world know what's happening. And,
Yep.
give my love to my nephew.
Yeah.
I sent him a bottle of Lysol.
And same to Ferris.
That teenage. No, man, he's also amazing. Now I got to
Ferris,
get him on here one time because he's creating beats and making songs and he understands the music and he got his own vibe